So I'm doing my first ever Pokedex Binder Challenge, and I wanted to do it a little bit differently. I want a card of every single Pokemon that exists, but to do that, I want to look at every single variant of every single Pokemon that has currently ever existed in the TCG. That's a lot of work, that's a lot of research, that's a lot of talking. But we're going to give it a go, and we're going to start with Bulbasaur. Fitting that Bulbasaur was my chosen Kanto starter when I was a kid. As you can imagine, for around the first 150 or so Pokemon, the history of this Pokemon lies within the base set. Specifically, the base set expansion pack released on October 20th, 1996. This was illustrated by the legendary Pokemon artist Mitsuhiro Arita. Notoriously, a lot of the original Bulbasaurs were printed without their rarity symbol, so if you have one without the symbol in your collection, you have the first ever printed Bulbasaur card. This card design was reprinted around 27 times if you include all languages, ranging from English first editions to the Legendary Collection variants. It also got a more modern reprint in the Trading Card Game Classic Collection. I'm sure most Bulbasaur collectors at some point have had some variant of the base set Bulbasaur in their collection. The next Bulbasaur to come along was Erika's Bulbasaur from the Gym Heroes / Gym Challenge era, illustrated by Ken Sugimori and initially released in October 1998 in Japanese and in August 2000 for the English release. This version of Bulbasaur has never been reprinted, so the art stays locked within the vintage original prints. Just 3 variants were to be had, 1 in Japanese Gym Heroes and 2 in Gym Challenge in English, first edition and unlimited. It didn't stop there though for Erika's Bulbasaur, as in the December 1998 issue of Korokoro comic, a promotional card, also illustrated by Ken Sugimori, was included with the comic. This version to this day still regularly sells for less than $50 or £40, sometimes much less. A lot of that is down to condition. The Korokoro promos weren't very well protected, so people who grade struggle to find a clean raw copy. 1998 was a big year for Bulbasaur, as we also got another card illustrated by Sumiyoshi Kazuki, illustrated holding a Pokeball and sitting next to a Pokedex. This card released in the Vending Machine expansion set, but was also found in various intro decks to the TCG in Japan. This is a Bulbasaur that was never printed in English, something that isn't uncommon in the Pokemon TCG. Speaking on the intro packs and starter decks, within them is a Mitsuhiro Arita Bulbasaur featured only in these decks. Arguably, the most famous Pokemon artist illustrated this Bulbasaur, and it has only been printed once. And the great thing about this is you can still pick it up from anywhere for around the 40 to 60 mark. It even has a little Bulbasaur set symbol, as it was a staple of its own deck. A very rare and very unique variant of Bulbasaur we see is from the 1999 Pokemon Snap Best Photo Contest. This version of Bulbasaur was from a contest held by Korokoro Comic and illustrated by Yuki Tanaka. The contest was held in May 1999, and the top 5 winning entries had their artwork featured on reprints from the expansion pack, which we call Base Set. The 5 winners each received 20 copies of their card, and that was it. Given the rarity and scarcity of this card, most of us mere mortals will never have one within our collection, with the last PSA 9 sold around a year ago for $200,000. Imagine this happening in today's era, 20 copies of a card given out to one person to share among their friends or do whatever they want with. And this was over 20 years ago. It's obvious to see why these are so rare. Bulbasaur arts took a back seat other than reprints until the e-reader era after this. Expedition base set in December 2001 is where we get our next unique Bulbasaur art. This time illustrated by Sachi Matoba. Both Expedition Base and the E-Starter decks released on December 1st, 2001. By this point of the TCG, first edition was scrapped in English, so the first edition variant was only available in the E-Starter deck in Japan. That was also Japan's only print of this card. English and other European languages were also treated to a base version of the card and a reverse holofoil version, but no first edition. So Japanese and English both had unique versions of this card. Expedition, however, didn't just give us 1, but 2 Bulbasaurs, with a Tamakazu Kamiya version that was worshipping the sun. Now this specific Bulbasaur has an exceptionally rare version, which is almost mythical within the Pokemon scene. A quick Google won't provide many answers, and you need to delve deep into the collection history and forums, which I have done. There was a print of this Bulbasaur without the first edition stamp in Japanese. Arguments are made for it being an error, an early prototype given out to staff, or given out at an illustration contest in 2002. The most likely scenario seems to read like the 50 starter decks were printed without the first edition stamp. The evidence further leans to these being part of a colouring/illustration contest held in 2002, and the people involved were able to get their hands on one. Cut to my childhood and my adulthood for that matter, with Pokemon at McDonald's Happy Meal promos. From January to February 2002, McDonald's held the Happy Meal promo with e-reader cards, which is where we got the next Ken Sugimori Bulbasaur, his first in 4 years. This is a unique Bulbasaur, as its vines make the shape of a McDonald's M, a golden arch Bulbasaur. We had it all in 2002. Well, Japan did at least, as this was another Japanese exclusive. Ken Sugimori didn't stop there and had the next Bulbasaur illustration too, coming around as an ADVP promotional card tied in with the Japanese advanced era of cards. Bulbasaur was specifically a Meiji chocolate promo, a Tokyo company founded in 1917, the first company to have Pokemon cards licensed to be sold along regular goods in 1997. We're only doing the official TCG in this series, but Meiji also had a unique Bulbasaur around the same time, in its own card variant. This Sugimori Bulbasaur arrived in English in 2003, with EX Team Magma vs Team Aqua, and had both a normal and reverse holo version. One of my favourite Bulbasaurs in my own personal collection, released in the Flight of Legends era in Japan, with the Venusaur constructed starter deck version of Bulbasaur released in March 2004. It came to English in EX Fire Red and Leaf Green in August 2004. The first and only Bulbasaur to date illustrated by Atsuko Nishida. The card featured 3 different codes on its common prints, often believed to signify print run, but making 3 slightly different variants of the same card. There is also a beautiful holographic, or more accurately given the era, reverse holographic version of this card in English, which I personally elevate up there with the top 3 Bulbasaur cards of all time. Again, this was another set with 2 Bulbasaurs. Hajime Kusajima provided the art for the second Bulbasaur, seemingly crossing over the water. This set had 2 stunning Bulbasaurs within it. A year later in 2005, we got our first Bulbasaur card since 1999 featuring 2 Bulbasaurs, and the first one with a pair of Bulbasaurs in English. Releasing in the Master Kit in Japanese in 2005 and Pop Series 2 in English in the same year, this Bulbasaur was illustrated by Midori Harada. This is a much more accessible Bulbasaur given it's the first pair in English, and you can pick up a copy for around $20 or £15 on the market. Near mints are even sitting at around the 50 mark, so for the first Bulbasaur card featuring a pair of Bulbasaurs, that's not a bad deal. The following year in 2006, we were treated to the Sumiyoshi Kazuki Bulbasaur in the Groudon construction deck in Japan and EX Crystal Guardians for the English release. A very unique Bulbasaur art style with a much thicker outline and bright colours. This more simplistic Bulbasaur stands out for the time, again in a non-holo version but with a new addition, a reverse holographic stamped EX Crystal Guardians holographic. This is the first time we saw a stamp on a Bulbasaur in the art itself within the TCG, but it definitely wouldn't be the last. Mainly because it wasn't even the only one in this set. Kagemaru Himeno illustrated another Bulbasaur for the same set in English, and Japan finally had another Bulbasaur in its main set release, not a starter deck. This Bulbasaur was the one to feature in Miracle Crystal, the Japanese equivalent of EX Crystal Guardians. In 2007, Secret Wonders came around, and we got our first Kyuki Saito Bulbasaur, an artist you'll hear me say a lot as this series goes on. A Bulbasaur pictured seemingly moving between the trees. It was available in Japanese in first edition and unlimited, and in English in both normal and reverse holo formats. The reverse holo is more akin to what we see in modern sets with a very bright shine. This was the first Bulbasaur to show a level on the card, which was down to the fact that Diamond and Pearl era brought in level X rarity, and all the cards had some sort of level on them. Bulbasaur's was 14. This card also came out in Portuguese and Korean, but they didn't get any holographic versions. Neither did the Italian version that also released. Supreme Victors brought us our next Bulbasaur 2 years later during the Platinum block. Naio Kimura illustrated a Bulbasaur in action during a sunset. A beautiful colour pop on this card, available in both normal print and a reverse holo. This card didn't release in Portuguese, Korean or Italian though like previously, but it did get a Japanese, English, German and French print. Pokemon's worldwide languages were all over the place, and that is the case across the years. So this series will mainly feature English and Japanese cards of main sets, but if another language has a promo, stamp or variant, I'll mention it in the video. During this era we were still getting Japanese first editions in main sets, which Bulbasaur was finally featuring on a more regular basis in Japan. In this instance, it was a level 13 Bulbasaur. A 10th anniversary card in Pokemon in 2009 might sound a bit confusing, but that is the next Bulbasaur we got. It wasn't Pokemon itself's 10th anniversary, but the Pokemon Center that had launched in 1999 had special promos it gave out for its 10th anniversary. One of them was a Bulbasaur illustrated by Yukimori, a very popular name associated with the TCG. Yukimori's distinct clay model art style stands out amongst the TCG and is one of the most collected artists in the TCG to date. This promo now sits well at over 150 on the market, as it is the first Bulbasaur to feature in this style. Technically, it's the only Bulbasaur to feature in this style, but there has been a Ditto, posing as a Bulbasaur. It was another 2 years before our next Bulbasaur, 3 in English. The Dark Explorers Bulbasaur released in 2011 in Japan and 2012 in English. Interestingly, it was only available in first edition in Japanese, and there was no reverse holo. So the English print was the only way to get a more sparkly Bulbasaur, which, given this was going back to the legendary Mitsuhiro Arita as the artist, it was definitely deserved. We got a new promo type of Bulbasaur, and this was a Build-A-Bear stamp promo version. This version didn't come out until 2017 alongside the plush, but Build-A-Bear and Pokemon decided the 6-year-old Dark Explorers card was the way to go for the promo when it eventually released. Going back in time before Build-A-Bear, but after Dark Explorers, the next Bulbasaur was a promo that never made it to any other language outside of its promo print in Japan. That is the black and white stamp promo version. It came as part of the March 2012 Gym Challenge Pack. It was the only Bulbasaur art ever designed by the artist Masakusa Fukuda, and sadly for international fans, it has remained a Japanese exclusive. It's hard to believe we went 5 years without a Bulbasaur card in the Pokemon TCG, given it is one of the original 3 starters. But we did. Shining Legends in 2017 brought us our next Bulbasaur card. Designed by Mizui, Pokemon definitely got their money out of this illustration, as it featured across so many different reprints. It was in Hidden Fates in Japan in 2019, it was a General Mills promo with an exclusive holo foil pattern in 2019, featuring in the Let's Go Kanto mini packs, back when cereals had cards in them. It featured in the 2021 McDonald's set in both a regular and exclusive holographic and stamped variant, as part of the 25th anniversary. This is the first Bulbasaur to feature in languages such as traditional and simplified Chinese, Thai and Indonesian, making it just that bit harder to have every single Bulbasaur card in a binder. In Indonesia, it featured as a promo for a Pokemon TCG Season 1 prize, KFC Series Town League winner prize. It's a mouthful, but it was essentially a promo pack for tournaments. And of course, that variant had its own stamp. Korean and simplified Chinese both got exclusive reverse foil versions, and this is when the variants really started to become varied, as this Bulbasaur had a lot of them. It didn't slow down in 2019, however, as we got our first live-action Pokemon blockbuster in Detective Pikachu. All of these cards were illustrated by MPC Film. The Japanese variant only released in mirror holofoil due to all the commons and uncommons being printed this way. The second variant of the live-action Bulbasaur was a Sun and Moon promo. In English, you could only get this stamped from the promo Detective Pikachu on the Case figure collection. Stores similar to Smith's and Game in the UK and GameStop in the US had an unstamped promo version to hand out. Japan's version of this card was distinctive, given its mirror foil pattern. On to 2022 and a Pokemon Go Bulbasaur illustrated by the artist Soso. This is a multi-language card and found within every Pokemon Go main set. Every single version of this card features the Pokemon Go stamp, meaning there aren't any awkward variants to find out there. And it's a very cute Bulbasaur, with him doing a little jump. During the Pokemon Go era, there was also a promo Bulbasaur found in English in the pin collections that were released. It was much more annoying to get hold of in Japan, as it was part of the Pokemon Go promo gift card campaign. Customers at participating stores across Japan who purchased at least 4 Pokemon Go booster packs within a single transaction were given a campaign limited promo card pack. Bulbasaur was one of the promos. They did a similar promotion for the card in other regions across Asia. Designed by Shibuzo, the Bulbasaur is holding a present, like many of the other promos in Pokemon Go, so it's required to complete your set of the Pokemon Go cards featuring the presents. One of the cutest Bulbasaurs in my opinion came from the illustration competition in 2022 by artist Julie Hang. Julie was one of the 3 winners for this Bulbasaur, alongside Tiger Kasai and artist Rend, who is now a regular Pokemon TCG artist. Julie Hang has also since illustrated cards in the Scarlet and Violet era, with this Bulbasaur gaining her notoriety. The card was featured in a promo pack with the other winners' cards. It was available through the Pokemon Center. People wishing to receive a pack were required to submit their details on a dedicated registration website. Valid applicants received a one-time code to use via email that could be redeemed with an eligible purchase on region-specific Pokemon Center online stores. This was in the United States, Canada, and the UK. Japan had this promo as part of a purchase-based promo in their Pokemon centers. With Scarlet and Violet 151 releasing, we were of course due to get another Bulbasaur in 2023, and that came to us from illustrator Yu Nishida. This card is potentially the most reprinted and repurposed art Bulbasaur in existence, with over 30 different language, rarity and promo variants. It was the first time we ever got a Pokeball and Master Ball reverse variant of Bulbasaur, given that was the niche of the Scarlet and Violet era. There was a Best Buy exclusive Stamp 151 version in the United States, which was a purchase-based promo. There was also an exclusive Cosmo reverse holo foil pattern of this Bulbasaur, found within the Costco exclusive 151 mini tins. In Thailand, there was a promo variant titled The Great Celebration 2024 at Central Patana, where this was stamped on the card. There was also a Choki Chocococo shoe. That's not correct pronunciation, but we'll go with it. Surprise Pokemon promotion stamp variant of this card, where the cards were in a box of Choki that you bought. The Indonesian version Pokeball and Master Balls were given out at tournaments in 2024 as both a lucky draw prize and a winning prize. In simplified Chinese, we also got unique variants featuring their Pokeball and Master Ball prints of this Bulbasaur. This was much later in 2025 though, when it came to simplified Chinese, as they tend to run on their own release clock. The illustration rare 151 Bulbasaur is in my opinion one of the best Bulbasaur cards that you can own. Illustrated by Yoriyuki Ikegami, it is the first ever full art variant of a Bulbasaur, and it took Pokemon until 2023 to do it. Pictured in the wild in the grass with the happiest looking of faces, this was a multi-language release with only one promo variant, the Journey promo pack, featured in the gift sets in China. The 151 ARs in China really aren't easy to get as they're all in these promo packs. During the Scarlet and Violet 151 era, we were also treated to an Okecheke Bulbasaur. Okecheke has become a little bit of a legend in Pokemon for their art style. For me, forever legendary, as they illustrated this soup. I'm personally a big Cosmo card collector, and annoyingly this Bulbasaur had 2 variants of the holo pattern in the same product. There are the more clean HD smooth Cosmo pattern, and then there is the Cosmo that is often referred to as the pixelated Cosmo pattern, although the latter is the one most commonly known as a Cosmo promo. You have to have both for a master set, so take a closer look if you've got these, because it's really hard to tell if you don't know what you're looking for. Indonesia were at it again with their Choki stamps and promos given out for their Pokeball and Master Ball variants, but Thailand brought a new stamp. This Bulbasaur was featured as part of the promo Taikino Seaweed 7-Eleven purchase campaign, and featured an exclusive stamp. No matter the variant, this Bulbasaur is a must-have for any Okecheke collector. There's a reason this hobby is a bit of a mess at the minute, and you can't even get products designed for really young children. And that's because Pokemon decided to make this excellent Sayata Saruta Bulbasaur as a My First Battle exclusive when it released in 2023. It features a little Bulbasaur stamp and it can be found in a variety of languages, but only in the My First Battle products. It's not necessarily rare as it was widely printed, but people have caught on to the exclusive nature of some of these cards, so the box has shot up in price to split down and sell for singles. Now it's about time we got to Brian. If you watch my Nuzlocke, you know this is Brian. Only this Bulbasaur card is Brian from Stellar Crown in English. In 2023, the artist Orca treated us to this masterpiece of a Bulbasaur illustration rare. Japan went back to its old ways and it was only featured in the Venusaur, Charizard and Blastoise special deck set. They were joined by Korea this time, who also did the same thing. In most other languages, however, it was an illustration rare chase in their version of Stellar Crown. In Thailand and Indonesia, it was a promo in the Shiny Treasure EX one-box purchase promo pack, which is pretty self-explanatory. And in simplified Chinese, it was part of the first partner premium gift box, which at the time of this video you can still get, but it is expensive as it has one of the most desirable Chinese booster boxes in it, Surprise 151. And the promo itself, of course. It's hands down my favourite Bulbasaur card that exists. Long live Brian the Bulbasaur. So earlier on I mentioned simplified Chinese runs on their own clock. Well, doing things this way has resulted them in having an exclusive Bulbasaur released in 2024. The Sword and Shield Galan Galaxy set, or CS5BC, features a unique art illustrated by Sino Masaki. There's also a great reverse holo variant featuring leaves in the reverse holo pattern. A really unique Bulbasaur, this one, and locked to Chinese currently. Moving on to 2025 and the Mega Block of Pokemon, first released as a Japanese Mega promo and then in Mega Brave, the Japanese version of Mega Evolution base set. We get here a Hayaganosuke Bulbasaur, another popular artist from the modern Pokemon TCG era. Involved since Team Up, but this is his first Bulbasaur. This is a colourful, vibrant Bulbasaur, and this card was available across multiple languages, and it also had a stamped promo, even in English. That promo was the Pokemon Day promo, which was available in the West at tournaments and play days that local TCG stores held, making it harder for a collector to obtain, but relatively easy for anyone involved in playing the TCG, as it was often given out for participation in a lot of places. One really overlooked Bulbasaur card that I can't even find for sale currently, please let me know if you can, I've spent hours looking, is the Chinese Mega Evolution promo stamp Bulbasaur. It was released as part of the Mega Brave Mega Symphonia 10-pack set plus grass set, and my only digging has led me to this video where you can see the stamped card, but you put the code into eBay, no Bulbasaur pops up. It's the same with Google image search, but it's out there, and it might be a case of using Chinese text to find it, as a couple of hours of searching in English have brought me no luck. The Indonesian variant is relatively easy to find, which is what a lot of searches will lead you to, as it's from the same product, but the stamp and the language is different. This is where it gets tricky for master setters when the cards are harder to find. Staying with Mega Brave is the beautiful illustration rare found in Mega Evolution in English. Illustrated by Mashu, I've known a lot of people say that this is their favourite ever Bulbasaur, and I can see why. This also had a rarer stamp promo version which was only available in many markets by buying an enhanced booster box, as it came as a box topper. Now we move on to the final Bulbasaur in the TCG history so far. We have the 30th anniversary first partner illustration collection Bulbasaur, which most of you, if you're in the hobby today, will be familiar with. The one that everyone seems to be massively overvaluing due to having the shadow of Pikachu in Viridian Forest as a cameo. Putting that aside, however, this is a very solid entry as a Bulbasaur card, illustrated by Subateri and released in 2026. It features an original Pokedex, Cantonian badges, and many more Easter eggs relating to Kanto. It's a lovely card, but it's crazy that you can buy a card 20 years older and much rarer for less of the same Pokemon. Now, given this series, I have to pick one of these Bulbasaurs to go in my personal collection, Pokedex Binder. I have a fair few of these, but given I don't have this one, and it's very expensive in English, I'm going to show Korea some love, and I have purchased the 151 Bulbasaur in Korea to be my first entry into my Pokedex binder, and the main reason for that is because I don't have it and Brian's currently at grading, so he wouldn't fit in a binder. But that is all the variants of Bulbasaur within the Pokemon TCG history. What was your favourite, and do you think I've missed any out of that comprehensive list? Be sure to let me know in the comments. This channel now has a Patreon to support the long form content, completely optional, but if you'd like to support like Zhao Mei has, then you can find the link in the description. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and I'll be back soon to talk you through the history of another Pokemon.